You have the season openers for the NBA, 76ers, Celtics, Lakers, and the Warriors. That'll be on TNT, a doubleheader. And that means Charles Barkley has to work tonight. He just signed a new contract. Let me get the official press release. Charles Barkley has agreed to a 10-year deal with TNT, expected to be well into 9 figures, the Post has learned, the New York Post. And the exact amount Barkley will make is not yet known if he fulfills the entire contract. Could be well in excess of $100 million, could approach $200 million. Charles Barkley join us on the program. Drinks are on you, Charles.
Drinks are definitely on Chuck, man. I just want to thank my TNT family. Man, I've got a great company I work for, so I'm excited to be back with TNT and looking forward to the future.
How did the Live Tour negotiations affect, or did they affect your contract with TNT?
0%. You know, TNT asked me, like, they said, we need something from you. Would you give us something? And I said, what do you want? They're like, we need you to stay longer. We can't lose you and bid on the NBA. So that's how the negotiations started and went. I says, well, I don't want to work till the day I drop dead. They're like, well, we need you to stay at least 3 more years because we got the they're going to bid on the NBA. I mean, I think they're probably going to start bidding on the NBA really soon. They said, we can't let you leave in 3 years and bid on the NBA. So they asked me would I sign for a couple more years. And I said, well, you guys been great to me. I'll stay on a couple more years. And, I mean, there's probably 0 chance I'm going to stay for the entire 10 years, Dan, to be honest with you. But they've been great to me, and I wanted to do something for them, and they did me a favor.
All right. How does your agent approach negotiations? Can you factor in what Tony Romo makes or Troy Aikman makes or analysts in different sports, what Tom Brady is going to make from Fox? Because you're extremely valuable, and I've said you're probably the most valuable member of the media right now. So how do you go in and negotiate?
Well, Dan, number one, you said that before, and I want to thank you for the kind words. First of all, my agent, who I love, Mark Perman, he's done a fantastic job, had nothing to do with this. I met with Turner personally because, dude, I'm not worried about money at this stage of my life. Listen, if I don't have enough money by now, I'm a big idiot. I mean, I played 16 – no, I mean, seriously, Dan, I played 16 years in the NBA, and this is my 22nd year starting night on Turner. If I don't have enough money by now, I'm just an idiot.
Well, you're not a very good gambler, though, so I got to factor in, you know.
Well, I factor when I renegotiate my deals and do commercials, I factor in gambling losses.
That's your gambling loss money when you do your Subway commercials?
Subway, Capital One, Dick's Sporting Good. Hey, and I want to thank the Broncos and the Chargers for the worst boring football game in the history of civilization last night.
No. That was last Thursday. The last 2 Thursdays are worse than what we had last night.
You're right. What was the game that was worse than last night?
Yeah, the Bears and the Commanders.
That was the worst. Hey, that was the worst football game I ever seen until last night. But to tell you how crazy this thing is, last week I had the Bears. And last night, I had the Broncos. And the only reason I would watch 2 games that bad is I bet on them.
Yes.
But I'm not joking. Last Thursday, when they were like at the 3-yard line, all they needed a touchdown. That was the worst game I'd ever seen until last night. But the only good thing about last night, I had the Broncos +4.
Okay. All right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, basketball tonight. I'm more interested in the ring ceremony for the Golden State Warriors. How does Jordan Poole? It feels like the pressure's on Jordan Poole to handle all of this, not Draymond Green. Does that sound right?
Wow, I don't think there's anything they can do. I think this family is fractured. I don't think you can put it back together. Draymond was 100% wrong. And he's apologized, so we just keep it moving, but he was wrong. but I don't think you can put this thing back together. You know, like Dan, if you punch, like in a family, if you just punch one of your family members, yeah, y'all probably gonna get past it, but y'all relationship will never be the same.
Did you punch a teammate in practice or get punched?
I got to fighting in practice one time with Oliver Miller, and I apologized, but it was more of a wrestling contest. I didn't just sucker punch him. I think, obviously, if you sucker punch somebody, that's a totally different animal. If two guys know you getting ready to fight, and I think Oliver was wrong, and I think I was probably wrong for coming at him. But I remember we had went away to training camp to get ready to go to the finals. And Oliver was screwing around, and I said, yo, man, I'm going to the finals for the first time in my career. I don't need you out here jacking around. I said, I've never been to the finals before, and you're out here jacking around. And he said something to me sarcastic. And I said, hey, if you keep it up, I'm going to kick your ass. And he says, well, kick my ass. Oh. And I now, so then when you tell somebody you're going to fight them, that's totally different than just walking up on them and sucker punching them. So like I say, I don't know if this relationship can be repaired. Now, obviously, they're going to be professional, but I don't think their relationship can ever be the same again.
And Jordan Poole is more valuable to this team as they move forward. And like Draymond Green is a good player for that team. But at some point, you have to say, we got a new wave of younger players. We want to keep Steph and Clay. You know, are you going to bring back, Draymond is going to exercise his option, I think, for one more year. But if you're Golden State, at what point do you move on from him?
That's a great question. Hey, man, Draymond's a good dude. He made a mistake. The problem is he's going to be on this team probably the next couple of years. And clearly the Warriors have moved on. And I'll tell you something, man. If their young kids can play, I'm a big Kuminga fan. I don't know about Wiseman because I haven't seen him play. But with Moody, Poole, if Kuminga and Wiseman can play, this team could win the championship. They're going to be in contention the next 5 years at least. Bob Myers he's probably passed R.C. Buford as the best GM. And I forget my man in Oklahoma City, Sam Press, who does a fabulous job also. Yeah. But R.C. Buford was always, in my opinion, the best GM in the NBA, finding Ginobili and Parker and Kawhi Leonard and guys like that. But what Bob Myers did out here in San Francisco, getting Wiseman, obviously got a great break getting a draft pick that high. But him and Kuminga, man. But don't forget Moody and Poole were low draft picks. Yeah. So this team could be scary. And Draymond has to accept that. He's been a heck of a player. He's a great role player. He's probably going to be here 2 more years, and they're going to move on. But that's the way sports work. Yeah. He's been very well compensated for what he's accomplished. But you can't get mad when teams want to move on from you, Dan. You get paid for what you do, not what you used to do.
He's the Hall of Famer inside the NBA analyst, Charles Barkley. The opening night on TNT, Celtics and the Sixers, followed by the Lakers and the Warriors. The over-under, if I set it at 65.5 games for Anthony Davis this year, are you going to over or under?
Under. He's the key to the Lakers. He's a terrific talent. I said, you can I can actually skip tonight and put the exact same thing I said on last year. Has nothing to do with LeBron. No, seriously. Has nothing to do with LeBron or Westbrook or any of those other guys. Unless Anthony Davis is a top 5 player, the Lakers are going to be mediocre. It's 100%. Hey, LeBron, he's on the Mount Rushmore. One of my favorite people in NBA history. I got him, right up there with Kobe, LeBron, Magic Bird, Bill Russell, and Wilton, those guys. He's amazing. He's an amazing man. But he's 40 years old. It's 100% going to be on Anthony Davis. If he's a top 5 player, they could do some damage. If he's not a top 5 player, the Lakers are going to stink. I said the exact same thing last year. LeBron put out that tweet talking, I want you to keep that same energy you had opening night. And I'm going to have that same energy opening night. If Anthony Davis is not a top 5 player, the Lakers are going to be mediocre at best.
How do you tell a teammate who's not a good shooter to stop shooting? Because Russell Westbrook has said publicly, hey, I'm a good shooter, and he's not. He's a good player, or he can be a good player. He's not a good shooter. How do you do that if you have a teammate is a gunner?
Gunner is such a strong word, Dan. I'm never going to say anything bad about Russell Westbrook because, man, I admire the hell out that dude because, fans always talk about all I want from my players is give me 1% effort. Russell Westbrook is the hardest player I've ever seen play in the NBA. Does he have flaws in his game? 100%. But there's 2 storylines that we're going to be watching in the NBA. The Lakers and the Brooklyn Nets. They're must-watch television. We have no idea when Russ is going to punch Patrick Beverley. That's like we're going to have to watch because, that little thing the other day when he's trying to call him in the huddle.
Yeah.
And Russ is looking like, no, hell no, I'm not going in the huddle. That's real. I admire Russell Westbrook for not doing phony stuff. And this situation in Brooklyn, man, they could win the championship or they could get Steve Nash fired by Sunday. I mean, we got zero idea. But that's what – and then you got the situation in Philly with James Harden. Everybody is asking me, is James Harden cooked? I said, I don't know. But he had the entire summer to rehab his hamstring. But it's going to be fun watching, because like I say, I don't know if he's cooked or not. But like I say, you got to watch Philly, you got to watch Brooklyn, and you got to watch – and you actually got to watch what's happening out here in San Francisco. Because if they don't get off to a good start, they're going to have to do something about the Draymond situation. Like, and everybody knows this in sports, winning is the best deodorant. And if the Warriors don't get off to a good start, because, man, everybody knows what's happening. We all watch TV in the morning. We all watch the internet. If they don't get off to a good start, it could be serious issues here in San Francisco. So there's some great storylines out here, and I can't wait to get started tonight.
Okay, you're signing this new contract, 10 years. Who knows if it's $100 million or $200 million. Are you going to treat yourself to anything?
Dan, I've been buying whatever hell I want since 1984.
Okay, what's the worst purchase you ever made?
The worst? That's a great question, Dan. I bought a Porsche one time. And the one thing about Porsche, first of all, it's an amazing car, but they go too fast.
And by the way, it's Porsche.
Dan, they're not going to correct me if I walk in the Porsche dealership. They're going to say, which one you want, Chuck? They're going to say, which one you want?
Okay, why was it a bad purchase?
They go too fast. You think you're going like 60, 70, and you're going like 110. And I tell you, I was driving down to Schuylkill in Philadelphia one night. It was raining, and I was going about 117 miles an hour. I had a 944 turbo, and I lost control of my car. And I closed my eyes and said, it hydroplaned. And I just closed my eyes, and I said, well, this is the end. And it spent around like 3 or 4 times. I took it back to the dealership the next day. And then from that day forward, I've never driven a car. I'm only driving because SUVs only go so fast. And that night, I've never bought a car since that night. I said, I'm never driving because they're amazing cars, but certain cars make you go fast. And I'm like, no. I don't want to, because driving fast is just stupid. I mean, just because the car goes 100 miles an hour that don't mean you should be driving 100 miles an hour. So from that point on, I've never driven anything but a truck.
Have fun tonight. Play nice.
I'm gonna play nice, dude.
Shaq might not play nice.
Say what now?
Shaq might not play nice.
Oh man, listen. You know what? I haven't seen the big fella or talked to the big fella since the season ended. I can't wait to see him tonight. I'm gonna give him a big hug. And I've seen Ernie. I've talked to Ernie. I've talked to Kenny. But Shaq is always doing something. I can't wait to see the big fella tonight. I'm gonna give him a big hug.
Great to talk to you. Congrats on the deal, and thanks for joining us.
Hey guys, Dan. You make me get up early in the damn morning, man. I'm going back to bed.
Thank you, bud. That's Charles Barkley.
Brother. Appreciate you guys.
You're welcome.